Good afternoon, parishioners and friends. We gather today, Father Alfie's table. Today we're going to do something that is really original from Rome. It's called Gnocchi alla Romana, or Roman gnocchi. It's different from the gnocchi we did last time. This is from Rome, and it's very an ancient recipe that came along from the history. I don't know, I couldn't trace it where, but it's very delicious. That's why I propose this to you. So what's gonna happen, we're gonna make like medallions. Gnocchi is in a form of a medallions. Roman gnocchi, Roman medallions, sounds like Roman gods. You know how many gods the Romans had? They worshipped a lot. I had for curiosity look for some of them, and so we have Apollo, the god of the sun, poetry, music. Bacchus, the god of wine, of good wine. Cares, the goddess of agriculture. Then we have Diana, or Diana, the goddess of hunting. And this is interesting, fauna. You heard about fauna, the animals? That's the god, the goddess of animals. Flora, floral. Some of the English words come from the Roman, the Latin, and from the gods, comes from the gods. Flora, the goddess of flowers and spring. I wonder what is the god of summer, which is not here yet. It's 2nd of July and it's so cold and windy and stormy and cloudy. Anyway, Fortuna, fortune, is the goddess of fortune. Janus, so Janus, the god of doors and beginning and ending. Imagine, they had a god of doors and the beginning and ending, and that Janus. Juno, the goddess of marriage. Jupiter, Jupiter is the king of all gods, which is the big planet, no? It's the biggest planets we have, so it's the king of the gods of the Romans. And then of course the god of sky and rain. Mars, the god of wars. Minerva, the goddess of wisdom, education, science. Neptune, you know, the god of the sea. And then Pluto, the god of the underworld. Saturn, god of harvest, agriculture. Again, I guess they were competing between two gods. Venus, the goddess of love and beauty. I think we knew that, right? And then, so what is the god for cooking? I couldn't find a god for cooking, but there was a god for good food. So it's called Edasia. Edasia is the god of good food, goddess of food over banquets, and they were doing offerings during the banquets to make sure that the food was always good. Now the temptation is, I know what you're gonna ask, am I gonna make an offering to Edasia? I think I have a temptation to do that, to make an offering to the god of Edasia, so the food will come out very good and delicious. But if the bishop finds out that I make an offering to Edasia, he's gonna call Rome and send the Holy Inquisition. They arrest me, and then they're gonna torture me, because that's what the Inquisition does, until I repent and come back but along myself, all of you are also going to be arrested by the Inquisition, because you are watching me and supporting me. So maybe we're not going to do that, and why don't we start with that stuff and we go into cooking. The Roman gnocchi is made with semolina. The full recipe will be 1 liter of milk and 250 grams of semolina. I use 130, kind of a half a liter of milk. So those are the main ingredients, with butter, 60 grams of butter, 1 yolk, we're gonna use the yolk. Parmesan cheese will be 50 grams of Parmesan cheese. We're gonna use 2 times, okay, twice. And then a pinch of nutmeg, And sage, it doesn't require for sage, but as you know, I love sage, and just to make it a bit different, I use sage. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna warm up the milk with a little bit of butter, a quarter of this butter. We're gonna warm it up, and then we add semolina and a little bit of cheese. So we're gonna start with warm up the milk, and this is half a liter, and I'm gonna put it on medium. We don't want to boil it, okay? We don't want to boil the milk. We just want to get warm enough. When it starts boiling, then we put the semolina in, and we're gonna warm up the butter, the milk with some butter, maybe this much, because we're gonna need the butter after. When the milk is nice and warm, then we add the semolina. We'll stir it. The butter is melted, a pinch of salt, and then you see the milk is kind of steaming a little bit, so it's nice and hot, but it's not boiling yet. So now we add the semolina. And we stir, keep stirring like that. Okay, voila. And then we keep stirring. See what happened now? Right away. I couldn't hold up. Okay, now we finish with this. It turned down a little bit. We're gonna use some cheese now. Maybe a quarter of that one. And we mix. At this point, slowly, we slow down a little bit. We can add the yolk. And stir. Look what happened now. You see, start to get together. Look at this. Now a hint of nutmeg. About this much. Look, you see, it's getting automatically all together, naturally, I shall say. Look how smooth it's getting. See, with the egg and the semolina, it's basically ready. Look how beautiful is smooth. Another stir. Look at that. Okay, I stop now because I like the way it is, the consistency. It didn't take long, it was a couple of minutes. Now, what we're gonna do, we're gonna let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then we're gonna bring it on the cooking sheet, and we're gonna roll it. And from the pot, we're gonna put it on the cooking sheet. It's white on white, I don't know if you see there's a cooking sheet here. And voila, look how nice it is. And we don't need this anymore. So now we're gonna make kind of a sausage, okay, round. And we do it like that. go a little bit like that. Roll it a little bit. It's kind of surface is slimy, so I'm gonna get a wood underneath. Yeah, that's better. See? It's a bit too thick in the center and too large on the side, so we want to have it about the same. Look at that. See, you can play with it here. Try not to have too much of this line in the center. And that's due because of the wrinkles. So voila. Now we have to let it sit. Maybe half an hour or something like that, because we need to cut this in medallions, room temperature or even a bit colder. We cannot do that now, otherwise we'll break up. So 20 minutes after, I cheated because I put it in the fridge. I left it 5 minutes out and then it was taking too long to cool down, so I put it in the fridge for 15 minutes. And so now it's almost room temperature. See? So voila. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut this in sliced. Okay, so maybe this, maybe about half an inch like that. And I didn't really make a nice round, it's more kind of a cylinder or something, but that's okay, that's not a big problem. You could have made it more round before you put it in the fridge. Yeah, if you could have wait longer, if we could have waited longer and make it a bit more colder, it would have cut without breaking like this. But sometimes you lose patience. Wow. Patience is a virtue of the strong, they say. Patience is a gift. Sometimes we lose that gift, don't we? Especially when you're starving, you want to eat. Consistency, that this part, the edge, is much colder and is all nice and smooth. The one in the center I cut is still a little bit not as smooth. The taste doesn't change, the presentation does. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna have the second stage. This is the second stage of the gnocchi alla romana. So we'll take a gnocchi, we'll put it laid down like that. 1, 2. One lean against the other one, on top of the other one. Look at that. And voila. 2 pieces left, we leave them here. See? Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get the butter that we have left over here. And we're gonna melt the butter. And as I said before, we're gonna use the sage in the butter. Sage and butter, there's something about it, they just marry together. They're so good. Butter is melting, and we'll put the sage. We're gonna let the sage get a little bit crispy. But we also have to be careful not to burn the butter. Alright? I think this is good. So now we're gonna pour this on top of the gnocchi like that. After this operation, the cheese that we have left over will go right on top, like that. And we're gonna put in the oven 350 for 15-20 minutes, but keep looking at the cheese, okay? That got kind of golden but not burnt. Let's say 15 minutes and we'll check. So that's 20 minutes that we put the gnocchi alla romana or Roman gnocchi in the oven, and now 20 minutes after we can look at it. 350, but the last 3 minutes I put it on broil to give a touch on the top. The question that always we have is, it is good or not good? Existential question of the moment of now. We have to taste it because I don't have the answer. The sage and the butter, it's amazing. I could have used a bit more salt, but it's fantastic. Forget the gods, the Roman gods. This is way better than the Roman gods. So good. You gotta try it and taste it. Eurasia, sorry, this is better. God bless you and take care.